Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is News and Week in Review. We're going to be diving into a bunch of news things. Actually, that's not entirely true. We'll have like 3 minor news pieces, hence the no laptop, tablet, all of that. We're going to be diving into the usual topic of the week, the games I play, the videos for the week, all that stuff coming up shortly. Timestamps to everything down below. But before we do that, starting off the bat, we have a giveaway winner. Obligatory disclaimer that whenever I do a giveaway, if you get a reply from someone who's like, hey, message me at Telegram and send me $75 for shipping to cover your game, don't do that. That's not me. That's never me. If you are ever in any doubt about giveaway stuff, message me at alex@boardgameco.com via email. Email is the safest way. I do reply in the comments and do all those things too, but the comments are also full of people who like to throw a little fake logo on, and then their name is like boardgameco/telegram, and they want you to send a whole lot of money somewhere, which you shouldn't do. Don't do that. Don't do that. But that said, if you're wondering what giveaway, the giveaway effectively was, I did this like a month or so ago, I did a giveaway for 6 Lacerda games and Hoplomachus Victorum. The giveaway terms effectively were every 500 subscribers on the channel until we hit 50,000 subscribers, I'm giving away a Lacerda game, one at a time. And we have 5 Lacerdas left. The last one was given away 3-4 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, some various number of weeks ago, the last one was given away. And this time the winner is Corey Christensen. Corey Christensen, which fortunately I actually know Corey. He's been a follower for a long time. Corey, how long have you been following the channel? Because you've been there, like, I want to say since like 2,000-3,000 subs. You've been there for a very long time, or maybe longer, however it was. But Corey Christensen, I'll reply to your comment and also probably message you directly because I definitely know I'm going to get a hold of you. But you won one of the Lacerda games, so you can go ahead and get your pick. I have to double check which one was taken. I think Vinos was taken. I have to double check which one was taken. I believe Vinos was taken, so the other 5 are available. If you want to be eligible for the next giveaways, all you have to do is go to the video that I'll link down below where I basically said, hey, comment in this video, and every 500 subs, I'll have a drawing winner. And then also over on Camp Co-op, where I stream campaign games with Professor Meg, once that hits 2,000 subscribers, and we are close, then we're going to be giving away a copy of Hoplomachus Victorum, which is a good game. I was going to get into a whole thing. I'm not going to get into a whole thing. Either way, it's a good game. It's a good game. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the video. Corey Christensen, I'll reply to your comment, and I'll message you in some way. And as usual, if you don't claim your, which usually this is depends who you are. In this case, I don't think it's relevant, but as usual, disclaimer, if you don't claim your thing in a week, etc., then I might give it away over on Patreon. But past that, let's go ahead and dive into the video, starting off with the news, that's what it is. It's news. Okay, so basically, over at PAX East, they just basically announced that Alien Frontiers Edition X just came out, which is reasonable because I just did a video on it earlier this week because it was coming out. Basically, Starling Games re-released Alien Frontiers Edition X. They re-released Alien Frontiers in an Edition X, which comprises all the expansions and everything in a single box. You can get your hands on that. For those of you who have been wondering when Alien Frontiers would come back in print, the answer is now. Apparently now is when it comes back in print, and you can check that out. That'll be coming up, that's coming, I guess it's available now, in a manner of speaking. So Alien Frontiers, that's available. We also have a news that I forgot to announce last week, which is Funagain Games closed down. Not the retail store, but Funagain Games closed their distribution, but then they also closed their online store as well. So Funagain Games is closing down slowly. They're selling things off bit by bit. So if you're looking for a get out of going out of business sales, they're having those increasing like every week on their website. So slowly 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, etc. You can check that out. It's a shame. It's a shame to see another online store closing up. It's a shame to see, obviously Board Game Co., the retail operation, closed up shop, and we have Funagain Games closing up shop. Funagain Games, to be very clear, much larger operation than Board Game Co. But it's interesting to see interesting and sad to see continued shutdowns in the board game space. I think a lot of companies are still doing fine and holding the bar just fine, and a lot of companies are seeing the impact of the world changing around us and just making an industry that doesn't have a lot of margins have less margins and hurting them in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, Funagain Games unfortunately closing down, which is a big deal. And then lastly, there's a sequel to Merv. Not really a sequel, but like a spiritual successor to Merv, from the designers of Merv, from the same company as Merv, in some way related to Merv, Sancor. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I might be mispronouncing that, and sorry for the lack of images. I'm just running low on time this week, and with only 3 news pieces, I didn't throw the image stuff together. So we have Alien Frontiers X not over here, we have Funagain Games closing not over here, and then we have Sancor not over here. There's no images in any of those things. But with that, fairly light news, a fairly light week as far as news goes. We're gonna dive into the topic of the week, and the topic of the week is me just talking about my experience playing Marvel's Midnight Suns. And if you're like, why is that relevant to a board game channel? The answer is twofold. One, I like talking about the things I like to talk about. Sometimes they make their way into topics of the week. and sometimes they're not board game related at all, and it is what it is. The good news is I have timestamps down below for whenever you want to skip a section, which, by the way, is something I always enjoy. Whenever I get a comment from someone who's like, I don't like this in this section, I'm like, there's timestamps. You can skip it. Like, you can just go straight. Like, people like will watch my reviews and they'll be like, you spend too much time explaining the game, and I'm like, there's timestamps. You can skip the part where I explain the game. You don't have to watch that part. You really don't have to watch any. You may have skipped the part where I'm telling you right now. You don't. Oh, that's the problem. If you're someone who skipped this part, then you don't know that you can skip the parts. So I'll keep saying in every video, in the first 5 seconds of every video, I'll be like, you can skip anywhere. I say it a lot, actually. I don't say it in every video. I'm wasting time. Let's go ahead into the topic of the week. Marvel Midnight Suns, the second reason, because I said one reason is I want to talk about things, I talk about them. But reason number 2 is Marvel Midnight Suns is Slay the Spire adjacent, which is board game adjacent. I mean, by now it's actually a board game, so therefore it's kind of board game adjacent-y, sort of. So, Slay the Spire, in case you don't know, is a deck-building experience in which you build a deck, and then you fight off a series of monsters in a sequence of encounters, and it works so well as a board game that happens to be a video game, that they in fact made the card game out of the board game. So it's a video game inspired by board games that then became a card game, and inspired 17 bajillion knockoffs, of which I've played a bunch of them. I've always enjoyed them. The question is, how much did I enjoy them? There's Midnight Suns, which has the same basic mechanic. In Midnight Suns, you get 3 card plays, and you use those card plays to use various abilities, and there's tactical positioning and messing with your opponents, all in the Marvel Universe. There's going to be a Tainted Grail Conquest, which is not at all like Tainted Grail, in case you didn't know that. It's basically Tainted Grail Conquest is a Slay the Spire similar kind of gameplay system. We have Rogue Book, Banners of Ruin, Griftlands, Across the Obelisk, a Gordian Quest, Monster Train. There's so many more. There's only a handful. Slay the Spire was incredibly popular, and it spawned a whole sequence of offshoots, of which I've played 4 or 5, of which I keep telling myself I will spend more time going back to the ones I like and continuing to play them. I don't know why I keep telling myself that, because I don't actually do so. I like board games too much. Hence the conversation around Midnight Suns, which Midnight Suns is a game that I am no longer playing. And not only am I no longer playing it, but it's actually probably the worst one of these that I've played. Now, hear me out over here, and maybe this will save you $30 or not, because, fun fact, Midnight Suns is currently on sale for $30. Steam's doing one of its many sales, which is why I had notifications set up. The last few times I decided not to get it. This time I was like, fine, you got me, I'll spend the $30, I'll buy the game, I'll enjoy the game. I bought the game, I spent 2 hours playing it, and I said I'm done. And I'm done for a variety of reasons. Maybe this will save you $30, maybe it won't, or more importantly, maybe you'll tell me that I'm totally wrong and I should keep playing it and things turn around for the better soon. I'm open to that conversation. A little bit open to the conversation. I'm not that open to the conversation. You see, Midnight Suns, I played it for 2 hours, and there were 2 main problems with it. The first problem I had with it is the fact that the ratio of cutscenes and side gibbly-gook that you have to get involved with to actually get to the combat sequence where you play a bunch of cards in a tactical sequence to try to win the combat, the ratio is horrible. Again, I have like 2 hours under my belt and across like, I don't know, 2 or 3 plays, and in those 2 hours, I maybe had like 6 combats or something like that, of which each combat lasted like 3 to 4 minutes. So I think I had around maybe 20 to 25 minutes of combat, and then the rest of it's just like cutscenes and story, and go wander here and find, Iron Man over there so you can make the next thing. Like when I play Slay the Spire, you know what I do to upgrade a card? I play Slay the Spire, and then I get presented with 3 cards, I pick a card, and I move on to the next combat. Done, over, that's it, you are straight in the game. When I play Midnight Suns, when I'm done with the combat, I have to go wander across the hall to run my character to the meeting room, where I then take this little thing and put it on the table, and an interface pops up, and I click on the thing, and then I click on the thing again. Eventually I get presented with 3 cards, and then from there I can use the 3 cards and then go back to the game. They make the whole thing so immersive in a way that just makes the experience just worse, at least in my experience. Now, the ratings in this game are good, by the way, and this is the thing I'm interested in. Are the ratings good from people who are experiencing this type of system for the first time, and they like it, and they enjoy it, and their standards for the system aren't great? Or am I just, a bit of a, what's the word for it? Grumpy, I don't know, grumpy gobbledygook. Again, let's go with gobbledygook again. I don't know if I'm just being grumpy about it, but I didn't enjoy just how much downtime there was in the game. Now, keep in mind, I got up to a point about an hour in where I just said screw it, and I just started skipping cutscenes. And some of the cutscenes you can kind of spacebar through the dialogue so you can see things but go quicker than them. And other cutscenes you can't. You either watch it all or you miss it all. And I got to a certain point an hour in where I was like, I don't care enough about the story. I just don't. And so I started skipping it. The ratio was still not great, and the gameplay was still not great, which brings me to my second complaint, which is, and this is where I will completely agree, maybe if I gave it like, I don't know, another 5 hours, I'll get to a point where I like it, but the gameplay choices as far as what you actually do, I didn't get a stronger sense of deck building and strategy from Marvel Midnight Suns the way I would from Slay the Spire or any of the other offshoots. It feels like some of the things there's some like tactical positioning going on in the game, which is interesting, but the tactical positioning is only limited interesting because every turn you can kind of just move your guy, so the tactical positioning doesn't really feel like a challenge because I just say, oh, I want to knock this barrel into those baddies, so I will move my my guy to the barrel. What resources do I spend to move my guy? None. You get 1 free move a turn for your guys. Now that would be an interesting challenge if there were frequently like 3 or 4 interesting moves to make, but most of the time, I think there's only one time in all my time playing it, which admittedly is like 30 minutes of gameplay because of the way they restricted it, in all my time playing it, I think there's only one time where I actually even felt remotely the need to move 2 people. And you can usually do that because usually when you move a card, it also moves the person in question, and so you often have the opportunity to move people through the cards, and you get the free movement, which means that one tactical positioning bit rarely felt like anything other than just rules to know as opposed to a resource to manage or to be aware of. The net result is Marvel Midnight Suns felt like an experience that the graphics were good, but not great. The experience was bogged down by excessive storytelling and by a ton of just wander here, go here, meet them in the armory, go learn this, use that new interface. Hey, look, we have a social media interface that we're going to ping you every 5 minutes with some useless thing that doesn't really enhance the story or the world building in any way, and maybe it eventually goes somewhere. It goes somewhere interesting. I don't know. Because 2 hours in, I was like, I have a choice here. I can continue to play the board games I love. I can play Slay the Spire or any of the offshoots that have intrigued me, or the offshoots I haven't tried yet, and they are all significantly cheaper than Marvel's Midnight Suns, even on sale at $30. Or I can keep forcing myself to go through this experience to get to a game I enjoy. Now, the actual gameplay, by the way, the gameplay on its own was not the worst. It was the worst from any of these systems I've played, but it wasn't unenjoyable. It's just that it was introducing a larger barrier to getting to the gameplay than any of the other systems I play, and the gameplay, while not bad, was the worst from any of the ones I've played. So it's not that it was bad. I had fun playing the cards and taking the actions. I enjoyed it, but I just enjoyed the other ones more, and the other ones come with less of a barrier to entry, so why wouldn't I play those? And the answer is I'm not playing Marvel Midnight Suns anymore, and that's your topic of the week. I am a grump, and I don't like Marvel Midnight Suns, and I'm curious if you've played it, what your experience has been. Is it different? Is it better? Have you played Slay the Spire? Have you played any comparable? What about Monster Train? Monster Train, people keep telling me is the good one. I've played Monster Train. I do like it. I still like Slay the Spire better, even though a lot of people have told me that Monster Train is better. So maybe I go spend some time in Monster Train again, give that one another shot, and see just how much I like it. Because again, I really did enjoy it. I just like Slay the Spire the most. I still like Slay the Spire the most, so far. At least for now. And with that, let's go ahead and move into the topic of the week. I'm going to skip a 12x12 update over here. Usually I do an update on my 12x12 challenge, but there's no significant changes here. No major, like, I got this game started or not, or got that done. So we're just going to skip it for this week, which will happen some weeks, because I've gotten a pretty decent start on them. Like, we're in March right now, and I've already knocked out, like, 3 full 12x12s. Only done fun review, because I do need to play in every configuration possible, which means Castle of Burgundy is probably next, as far as a full review. Or I could just sit down and play Lost Ruins of Arnak and knock that one out. Again, I have to play the solo campaign mode. That's the only thing that's left. Once I play the solo campaign mode, I'll have a 12x12 review of that. But Castle of Burgundy would be great, because I want to play the Vineyards expansion and talk about that as well, so we'll get that done at some point. But anyways, no major updates on the 12x12. To that end, we're going to have the games I played. Games I played, we have a few games to talk about this week. First of all, we have Earth. This one's not really an update on Earth itself. This is rather an update on playing Earth on Board Game Arena. You see, I played through Earth. I already reviewed it. You can check it out. But I started playing a bit more on BGA to continue to dive into it. And I've been playing a lot of BGA, Board Game Arena, recently. And so I wanted to try out Earth. And I played Earth asynchronous mode or whatever, which basically means when you play on BGA, on Board Game Arena, you have 2 options. You can play on Board Game Arena, the actual, real time where you're all there together, or you can play where you take turns one at a time. Earth was one of the worst turn-based experiences I've had in a long time on the platform. And part of the reason is because you do things on everyone's turns, which means Earth was a sequence of the one player takes their turn, then I get a check and a ping where I have to take my turn. Okay, not my turn. We have to respond to their turn, taking a resource. Then the next person takes their turn. I have to respond to their turn. And around you go, so that a sequence of turns often involved me having to check in 5 times for that, plus, of course, my own turn, which they all have to check in. It has to trigger when I take my turn. 5 people have to be triggered. And what resulted was the slowest moving game I have played on Board Game Arena in a very, very long time. Now, to be very, very clear, because I'll have people in the comments down below being like, well, you're playing the game in the way it's not meant. That's the point. I'm not here to bash Earth right now. That's not the conversation. I reviewed Earth. My review stands. I tried playing it more online because I like playing games online, and I find turn-based play doesn't detract from the experience for me in most games. In Earth, it absolutely did detract from my experience. And part of the reason I decided to talk about this in my games I played is I saw someone commenting on the Facebook group saying, hey, it seems like the Earth's getting a lot of high reviews and all that stuff, and people on Board Game Arena aren't really enjoying it. And I was like, I wonder if this is a game that they're playing turn-based, because that is not a way to enjoy Earth at all, at least based on my own one-person experience. So, I didn't love Earth, turn-based on Board Game Arena. Also, side note, I do like Earth, but I didn't like... It's so interesting, because like I know Earth has been getting really high praise, and I like it. I gave it a 4 to 5, but I do not love it the way Dice Tower does. No disrespect to Dice Tower, by the way. I have that in... This is a general thing in general. Like, you know, every reviewer has different tastes. I have given games 5 out of 5s that are like a 7.4 on Board Game Geek. That happens sometimes. The nature of reviews means that at a certain point you'll have like a bell curve of like where you overlap, and then you'll have the exceptions where everyone's different. They like a game more or less than the mean, the norm, or whatever. And Earth is a game that I think is very solid. I enjoy it, and I don't love it nearly as much as like a 9.5 or a 10 or anything like that. But also, if you are playing on Board Game Arena, turn-based, that's not the way to enjoy the game. Past that, I also played Nova Roma this past week. Nova Roma is a phenomenal game. I'll have coverage on that up soon. This is an upcoming Kickstarter from Stan Kudansky. I have complaints about things that... Not complaints. I have things that I want differently in my games. I find Stan as a designer is incredibly precise about what he does in his games, with some exceptions. Like, I love Endless Winter. I love the chaos of Endless Winter. I love Rurik to no end. But his designs are so tight that sometimes I want more. Sometimes I want that extra power and ability mixed in that isn't present because his games are incredibly tight. This is true of Resurgence, which is a phenomenal game that I've gotten less and less interested the more I play Resurgence, because I find I'm mostly playing the same game, or it gives me this feeling of the same game every single time. I love Resurgence. I highly recommend it. I also assume it will leave my collection one day. Nova Roma, I think, has more staying power for me. We'll talk more about it in the review, but Nova Roma, the nature of the action selection, they have an action grid where you kind of mix up these tiles, they go in an action grid, and whenever you place a guy down, you take the row and column at different strengths depending on how the system goes. Very fun system, and the different combinations of actions are going to inherently result in different puzzles every single time you play it, but at the same time, Nova Roma is one that I still want more powers and abilities. The boats, the buildings, the different things in the game where I kind of want more abilities to break the game as opposed to the tight, clean system Stan gives. Very solid game, though. I think you'll enjoy Nova Roma a lot. I've played it both solo and multiplayer, and very much enjoy the system. I highly recommend checking that one out. And then we have Beyond the Sun. Beyond the Sun is another one that I should have a review coming up on this one at some point. But Beyond the Sun is a game that, and this happens to me as a reviewer in general, I try not to review games that I've only played once. I want multiple plays. And Beyond the Sun is a game that I'm meaning to review for a while, and I played it, I don't know, like 6 months ago, and I just haven't gotten it tabled again, and I noticed it on Board Game Arena, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to dive into some more Board Game Arena plays of a game that is not Earth. And I dove into it on Board Game Arena, and I've been enjoying it a lot. I've played it like 5 times this week, and I'll be continuing to play it because I'm just having a lot of fun diving back. It was a system that I only played once, and then I wanted to play it more before reviewing it, and now I've gotten to play it more. Now I've gotten to be able to dive into it. I'm really enjoying what Beyond the Sun does. And there's an expansion coming out, which I definitely plan on getting, because Beyond the Sun is basically known as Tech Tree the board game. Or at least I heard someone say that one time, and therefore I repeated it, both in my review and now again here. But Tech Tree the board game, it's just all about just unlocking text, so you can get more text that will unlock more text, that will also help you with the area control puzzle going on. I think Beyond the Sun is an excellent experience that I'm really enjoying, and I'm continuously diving through on BGA, having a lot. Like, I have 11 simultaneous games going on Board Game Arena right now. It's a lot to keep up with. I find as long as I don't play the same game twice in that sequence, like if I'm playing one game of a Feast of Odin, one game of Castle of Burgundy, as opposed to 3 games of Feast of Odin, then I can usually keep my strategy straight. Usually. But anyways, those are the 3 games. We have Beyond the Sun, Earth, and Nova Roma as far as the games I'm talking about this week. Which brings us to the week in review, starting off with this past Saturday. This past Saturday was Namiji, a review for Namiji, which is a game that I thought was fine, but also a game that still had the same issues of Tokaido of being a little too light for the experience I'm looking for. Namiji, I think, slightly improved upon Tokaido, but only slightly, and didn't really change my overall experience. Then later on Saturday, we had a review for Splendor, a review for, Splendor. I filmed this a while ago for WSBG, for a long time ago. Just hasn't gone up because I just constantly have backlogs of videos I'm trying to get taken care of, and Splendor finally went up. Then on Sunday, and Splendor I enjoy, but I enjoy it with caveats, including the fact that if you play Splendor optimally, it's actually less of a fun experience, in my opinion, although Splendor Duel is where it's at for me, at least right now. Then on Sunday I had a not really a review, a preview coverage of the Monarch game table. This is basically a game table that the Monarch game table Dragons and Geeks sent my way to showcase. The problem is it arrived later than the campaign, so it was supposed to arrive before the campaign so we could talk about it, and then I couldn't. So I did cover it, though, before the Pledge Manager closed. I think the Pledge Manager is still open if you want to check it out. I do like the Monarch game table a lot, but that's partially because it's the type of game table I already know that I like. As far as the actual experience with it, it seems like it's a great table. The quality seems great. Overall, I am very positive with the Monarch game table, but I'm also very positive with the caveat that I've experienced it for a week, so I haven't had time to really let things happen. But it seems to check the boxes of being great quality, giving you what you need in a game table. It does have have mug holders apparently. I said in my review it doesn't, but they've been working on them because people asked for them, so they have mug holders coming. And overall, just the price point combination and all those things, very solid table. Definitely recommend. Although caveat, I did get it for free. Take that into account. Past that, we have, that was Sunday. Monday we have two back or not to back. Two back or not to back, going into a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns. Not a lot of huge hitters. We had Townsville Tussle doing fairly well over there, but most campaigns were basically doing okay at best, and a lot of them weren't even funding. We just haven't had any large heavy hitters, although that will slightly change very shortly. Between, we're going to have Elder Scrolls over on GameFound. We're going to have DEI over on GameFound. I don't know if DEI will be a heavy hitter, but Lord knows I love that game, and I definitely want to be talking about that one more. I like DEI a lot, so just saying. Then past that, over on Kickstarter, we're going to have a Zombicide White Death showing up, so we do have some heavy hitters coming our way, just don't know exactly when. Then on Tuesday we had a few videos as usual. We had a review for Galactic Renaissance, gave that a 4 out of 5. I really enjoy what Galactic Renaissance is doing. It doesn't have the same charm and appeal that Inish does to me, but I do very much like the tactical system, and I like that, similar to Inish, it's giving you a very compelling strategic puzzle that is not based purely on combat and strength, but rather is based on how well you can manipulate the system, and it's very rewarding when you do so. Later on Tuesday, we had we had a preview for Cursed Goblins. This is a paid preview that Devin did. Devin, in general, has been doing paid preview content on the channel. You can check that out. That's a game where, similar to Hanabi, but in a more competitive mode, where you're trying to manage your hand of goblins, and players have to give you hints about the cards in your hands. I have not played it, so I don't know anything about the game past watching Devin's preview. Then later on Tuesday, we had a review for Let's Go to Japan. A review for Let's Go to Japan from AEG. That's an active crowdfunding campaign. And Let's Go to Japan gives you another travel game, similar to Namiji, but I'd much rather play Let's Go to Japan than Namiji. Let's Go to Japan gives you a travel sequence of collecting various icons. I enjoyed it with the caveat that I felt certain elements I wanted to be more strategic and more challenging and weren't, but overall I did enjoy it. Then on Wednesday, usually I have a live show. I did not have a live show this past week because it's been a busy week. It's been a very, very busy week. But Wednesday we had a video for board game upgrades, going through a bunch of board game upgrades, including some Frosthaven, Gloomhaven playmats that are currently on GameFound. We had a insert for Lost Winds of Arnak, which, by the way, Lost Winds of Arnak. Speaking of news, did you see the trailer for Lost Winds of Arnak? The two new characters and the solo/campaign cooperative version of the game. Lost Winds of Arnak, the CGE released the trailer for that. We've already talked about it in the past, but they released the trailer if you want to check that out. I'll try to include that in the links as well. That was Lost Winds of Arnak, and that was parts of the stuff from the board game upgrades. Later on Wednesday, we had a review. We had a gameplay for Seven Wonders Duel Pantheon with myself and Devin, going through a gameplay of head-to-head Seven Wonders Duel with the Pantheon expansion. Feel free to check that out. I enjoyed it, but also I was playing it. And then lastly, on Tuesday, we had an unboxing for Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down. Is that what it's called? I think it's called Full Moon Down. Full Moon Down. Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down. A full unboxing of that. Feel free to check that out as well if you want to see an all-in unboxing of all the stuff there. Which brings us to Thursday. Thursday, we had a review for Alien Frontiers X. This was specifically held to Thursday because they released it at PAX East, and that means my video went up on Thursday because that's when they released it at PAX East. So you can check that out as well. Which brings us to Friday. Friday, we had 10 Kickstarter Red Flags, a video I did together with Brian Greer, basically going through things that make us pause when we're looking at a crowdfunding campaign. Not necessarily red flags like you won't get your game, not that kind, but things that make us think, you know what, maybe I don't need to back this game. Here are a bunch of reasons why I'm just going to have a little bit more self-control and not get the game. But that's together with Brian Greer from Game Brigade, 10 Kickstarter Red Flags this past Friday. Which brings us to today. Today we have a few things going up. We have a preview for Herdvana going up. Herdvana is a fun little game that it's actually surprisingly fun. I did play that one. I enjoyed it a lot. This is a preview from Devin. You can check it out. Very, very light, but it's fun light. Like, I had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. But it's a light party game. Take that into account. And then we have going up as well, we have Ragnarocks. A review for Ragnarocks going up from Grey Fox Games. That's a game that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to review again, even though I've kind of covered the prototype in the past, but I wanted to like review the final game because I just really like Ragnarok. So there's that. And that brings us to today. That's not that was today, which brings us to next week. Next week we have a few things. We have upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for April. Will be going up later next week, and then we also have an Elder Scrolls First Impressions. Elder Scrolls from Chip Theory Games, from whatever Chip Theory Games, going up on Sunday. I apologize for the video and audio quality. I was not in my set for that. I was using their set. I didn't love the overall video audio quality over there, and the general framing and all that. I'd much rather have shown you my own setup. And my own setup is not that amazing, I know that, but either way, hopefully you enjoyed the first impressions. I very much enjoy Elder Scrolls. I like Too Many Bones better, at least so far, but I like Elder Scrolls, and it brings a lot of accessibility to the table. It gives you It gives you a more streamlined experience that I think will be easier to dive into, and I'm looking forward to continuing to play it. And with that, to talk about the games on the table, as usual, these are the games that I hope to be playing this week. And I hope to be playing some more Tassel Tussle because, honestly, playing it again, pulling it out and playing it again to cover for the campaign, to play through the expansion, has made me want to dive into it even more. So I hope to be playing some Tassel Tussle this week. I also hope to be diving into Sentinels of the Multiverse because there's an active. This box is heavy. This box is heavy. There's an active backer kit campaign going on for the expansion, and I want to play through it. I need to, see this unpunched. I've played through the original Sentinels. I've not played through the new stuff, and I want to dive into this game because there's so many cards. Holy hell, there's so many cards. But I want to dive into Sentinels of the Multiverse and give that a shot before deciding whether to sleeve it and or get all the expansions. I liked this game a lot back in the day, but then I moved on from it, and I don't know whether I want to go back to it or not. We'll find out. And then lastly, Witchstone. I just read the rules for Witchstone, and I'm excited to dive into this. I remember Jeremy Howard saying nice things about it, and I do like that man, Jeremy Howard, and so I hope to be diving into Witchstone this week as well. This one probably the most. More than all these, I want to play Witchstone, and then I want to play Sentinels, and then Townsfolk. I mean, Townsfolk I like a lot, but I just played it, so, these two I haven't, so there's that. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you have a fantastic week. Enjoy yourself, play some games, watch some TV or something. I have not been enjoying The Last of Us, by the way. I gave up on it. I got six episodes in, and I'm done with The Last of Us. I just don't think I need to continue. I never played the video game, but the story's not hooking me, and I like the actors. I think it's well done. I just don't care about the characters. So I guess watch The Last of Us if you want, but I'm curious what your experience is on that. In any case, that's a weird last-minute tangent. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.